Well, the Pittsburgh Penguins did it. They don't like easy and they don't like uncomplicated, but they survived. They led 5-1. They win 5-4 over the Vancouver Canucks Wednesday night before Thanksgiving here at PPG Paints Arena. Hi, I'm Dan Kingerski on the Pittsburgh Hockey Now YouTube channel. So let's get into the primary factors and the big stories, because I think it was all mixed in to the big win on Wednesday night. Sure, we can talk about Blake Lizotte scoring a goal. We can talk about Drew O'Connor's what actually became a game-saving save when he lunged to take a goal away and blocked a shot with the shaft of his stick late in the second period. We can talk about the little details of the game. I don't think that's the important part. I think the bigger issues that you saw changing on Wednesday. Now, we have to always put the caveat, right? That's one game. Is it a sign of better things to come, or is it an aberration? Is it a mere mirage in a desert that is to come? What the Penguins did a little bit differently on Wednesday. One, their breakouts were significantly better than they have been in weeks. You saw stretch passes, tape to tape, creating speed into the neutral zone. A lot of times there was a weak side trailer or even somebody up ahead for a nice touch pass off the wall. The Penguins were dialed in with actually connecting with each other. So some of the tweaks that Mike Sullivan put in over the last couple of days of practice were clearly evident in so much as, possessing the puck. It might sound silly, but the Penguins have just been an absolute disaster and a mess trying to get out of their own zone, trying to possess the puck through the neutral zone and get it and get good ice in the offensive zone. Wednesday night, they did it. Erik Karlsson played a big role in that as well. Karlsson might have played his most complete game of the season. Start to finish, he was pretty good on Wednesday. He skated the puck when he had to skate it. He made the good breakout passes and the stretch passes and the outlets. He was also engaged in the defensive zone. He got back, he took a body, and he stayed there. He wasn't freelancing and wandering all over God's creation. That makes a huge difference. Also, one of the big factors in the win on Wednesday was the Penguins' blue line. I don't know if it's accurate or not, but Jack St. Ivany was in the lineup with Ryan Shea as the third pairing. I think a bit of an overdue change by Sullivan. He makes it Wednesday. They go in. The pair was scored with 8 turnovers. St. Ivany with 5 and Shea with 3. You can probably tell by the look on my face, I'm a little dubious on those stats. Certainly, if there were that many turnovers, they were not costly, they were not ghastly, they were like, oh my. I also think there were a few scored turnovers on Wednesday that were not turnovers. I could hear the scorers kind of arguing, and I would have disagreed with several of their conclusions. Regardless, the Penguins' defense did not make those giant mistakes. They did not wander away from the front of the net. Starting with the third pairing and working, from bottom to top, you could see St. Ivany guarding the dangerous ice by the net. He was pushing guys. He was battling. That makes a big difference, and he didn't wander away from it. Ryan Shea kept it simple, did his job. With Erik Karlsson playing well, Marcus Pettersson wasn't having to scramble and chase the game. He was able to play his game. Now, obviously, there was, Vancouver's a good team. You're going to pick at mistake here, mistake there, or a good goal by Vancouver, which Pettersson was around a couple of good chances for Vancouver, but certainly there was nothing to diminish his performance, nothing to lower his grade. Matt Grzelcyk held his own with Chris Letang. They were largely quiet, actually. A couple of times I thought they gave too much ice at the blue line. They were a little too soft on their gaps, but it didn't cost them. Tristan Jarry was good enough. on Wednesday. I thought one, maybe two of the goals against were stoppable. I don't think either was a softie, however. And it's the softies that deflate the team. It's a whole lot easier to ignore a stoppable goal when you're up 5-1 or 4-1. And that was the Penguins' mental edge. They converted their chances, believe it or not. They converted their chances early in the game, which created the cushion for later in the game. So if we take the issues we've been talking about, the Penguins system, Sullivan is making changes, having a couple of days of practices, certainly really helped. And film review to kick a few guys into gear, another big asset of the last couple of days. I go back to the Wednesday practice when Sullivan stopped it and just unloaded is a borderline term. I don't know that he truly unloaded, but he certainly got his point across in a demonstrative and aggressive tone, in the middle of Wednesday's practice, and went back for a second go at a couple of the penalty killers. And they probably could use a few more cracks. The Penguins did so much better on Wednesday. And just from my standpoint, listen, it was so much nicer going into the locker room, seeing a few smiles, getting to joke around a little bit with a couple of the guys, rather than that solemn tone that we have to take when we walk in there like, okay, man, yeah, that was tough. What do you think happened here? What went wrong there? It was nice to ask a couple of guys how they succeeded instead of failing. So there is practice on Thanksgiving. I'll be hopping the plane to Boston. I think it becomes a huge game against Boston on Friday. Not necessarily in terms of the standings, because the Penguins are still, deep in the standings. But in terms of carrying this forward, they were so trounced last weekend and the week before. They were so just beaten down and beaten to a pulp by teams like Columbus and Utah and Winnipeg and so forth, that they really have to carry this forward and build on it. If they broom it, if this is lost in the wind on Friday, we are right back where we were a week ago when it was trade everybody, fire everybody, clean house, tear it down, enough. It's still early enough. They're going to be out of the playoff picture on Thanksgiving, which means they've got only a 25% of making the playoffs. Don't tell them that, however. It's still early enough and they're still close enough, quite frankly, that if they start to stack some wins, hey, who knows? And that's why the game at Boston on Friday is so vitally important. Even if they lose, they have to play well and look good. Otherwise, Wednesday was for naught. And this team has certainly done that more than its fair share over the last couple of years, just flushing good performances and carrying bad ones. So we'll see what the mental game is like on Friday. So they practice Thursday. They'll probably have a morning skate Friday, so we'll get a good look at the lines and how much Sullivan keeps from Wednesday, and we'll be there bright and early. From PPG Paints Arena, have a happy Thanksgiving. I'm Dan Kingerski on the Pittsburgh Hockey Now YouTube channel.